Good afternoon and welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Sky Guo. He's the CEO of Cypherium. We're going to take a look at lowering the barrier to blockchain adoption. Sky, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the Nasdaq market site. What are some of the shortcomings that you're seeing with existing blockchain infrastructures?
Existing blockchain infrastructures are facing some severe limitations. First, in their scalability. Like Bitcoin can only process 7 transactions per second, while on average we use the Visa and the PayPal that can process over 1,000 transactions. So Bitcoin's transaction is definitely impractical for real-time processing payments. And also, Bitcoin lacks what is called finality. That means it always has a risk of forking. Your transaction could be undone. So in order for a transaction to be considered permanent, Bitcoin has to wait at least 6 confirmations, and that means 1 hour wait time. That makes it even impractical for making a payment. And also the transaction fee for Bitcoin is super high, and those are the biggest limitations of public blockchains.
All right, so tell us about Cypherium and the U.S. Faster Payments Council.
Sure. Cypherium is a company that we are building a new public blockchain infrastructure that's ready for enterprise uses. So it features real-time transaction settlement, and we are a member of the U.S. Faster Payments Council, which consists of the payment industry leaders from the private sectors. This organization is working closely with the Fed to promote the faster payments for the U.S. consumers. And we create fraud definitions and frameworks for the upgrade of the technology along the roadmap of the Fed.
Okay. All right. Directly from the website says, unlike many second and third generation blockchains that abandon Satoshi Nakamoto's original permissionless, trustless consensus mechanism, Cypherium is built on the valuable innovations of previous blockchains. What does that mean?
Many of the new blockchains like Tron and EOS, they are using what is called delegated proof of stake consensus mechanism. So they are selecting a fixed nodes but they are still centralized for transaction processing. While Bitcoin, anyone with a computer, you can mine the tokens and process transaction. It's completely decentralized. That's what we feel is critical to the democracy of the blockchains. And Cypherium uses the mining as a leader election mechanism. So that means if you have a computer, you can also mine Cypherium and join our network, and it's open to anyone. We use another algorithm which is called hot stuff. Hot stuff is also adopted by the Facebook's Libra. You know, Facebook has billions of users, so it must be able to process transactions real fast. But it's centralized, and we combine the proof of work with Libra's hot stuff, so we make Cypherium totally decentralized.
Right. And then you're also separating the mining functions. That's what makes your technology different.
Right. So the mining is only for the election of the validators. It's like preventing hackers who control thousands of botnets to sabotage the network. And for the transaction processing, we use the hot stuff, which enables instant transaction settlement. So any transaction, it only takes less than a second to get settled and processed.
Okay, so obviously you could see the benefit there.
Yes.
Without having to wait as long, and it's much cheaper too.
Yes. So we can process over 5,000 transactions per second. So on average, each transaction only costs very little and almost negligible transaction fee.
All right, now you also report for an Asian publication, and you're seeing that Chinese investors, they're looking to leave traditional fiat and convert into cryptocurrency. Is that the case?
Yes. Right now, China is in a trade war with the U.S. And the Chinese yuan has only recently devalued, and many people fear that it will continue to devalue. So they are buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to diversify their risk. And definitely they are interested in cryptos as well.
It's interesting to see that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency are actually becoming safe haven assets.
Right, exactly.
All right, Sky, thanks so much for joining us at Market Site.
Jill.
You got it. And thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.